When my son said I wasn't welcome for Christmas, I simply smiled, stepped into my car, and canceled their mortgage payments. For 5 years, I had funded their dream life. But enough was enough. What unfolded next was more than justice. It was the ultimate lesson in respect. Sometimes, arrogance has a price, and I was ready to collect. Hi everyone, I'm David, the storyteller on the Family Tales channel. Here, I'll share stories about love, conflicts, betrayal, and infidelity within American families. These stories offer a deep look into relationships and the challenges families face. Stay tuned and explore with me. If you love emotional stories and want to uncover the hidden secrets in families, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you won't miss any of our videos. Upon hearing my son say I wouldn't be welcome at his house for Christmas, I smiled, hopped in my car, and made a single call. By the time the new year rolled around, I had successfully canceled their mortgage payments, and that was merely the first step in my strategy. Justice needs to be reinstated, and arrogance should face consequences. What I did next will leave you in disbelief. Before we dive in, we'd love for you to subscribe to the channel and share your location in the comments below. This year, I could whip up my renowned turkey, I remarked, sinking further into Michael's luxurious leather couch. The classic sage stuffing that your mother adored. Do you recall her saying it was superior to her grandmother's? The words lingered in the warm air between us, intertwining with the aroma of Isabella's luxurious vanilla candles. Michael moved next to me, his wedding ring glinting in the glow of their towering 12-foot Christmas tree. His posture shifted, shoulders drawing inward, as if he were preparing for a collision. Dad, I regret to inform you that we won't be able to have you here for Christmas. The words struck me with the force of a physical blow. I blinked, convinced I must have misheard. Could you clarify what you mean? What makes me unwelcome? Michael avoided my gaze, his eyes glued to the marble coffee table, the very one I had assisted him in selecting last spring, after Isabella deemed their previous furniture too unsophisticated. Isabella's parents are arriving, and they would appreciate it if you could make other plans. My hands grew cold. What would they prefer? This approach simplifies things, Dad. Her family has a strong commitment to traditions. They possess a unique approach to their methods. With every word, his voice diminished, as if he were retreating into himself. As I surveyed the living room, my gaze fell on the silk curtains I had splurged on after Isabella voiced her concerns about privacy, the hardwood floors that were a result of my second mortgage, and the crown molding that had pushed my credit card to its limit. This house is a testament to my dedication, my love for my son, and the countless hours I've poured into every detail. I echoed softly, their own way. What do you mean by that, Michael? He recoiled. Dad, let's not complicate things more than necessary. As I glanced through the kitchen archway, my eyes landed on Isabella's shiny new KitchenAid mixer. The professional-grade model she had passionately argued was essential for her holiday baking spree that amusingly lasted a mere 3 weeks. My $2,000 are just sitting there, likely only used a couple of times since October. So, where will I be celebrating Christmas this year? The question slipped out softer than I had planned. Michael's expression twisted in distress. How about considering a visit to Aunt Rosa? How about we plan something for the weekend after instead? The following weekend, as if Christmas were merely another meeting that could be postponed at will. I rose to my feet, my knees aching after 8 long years of shouldering this weight by myself. Understood. Hold on, Dad. As I made my way to the door, I passed the family photos, each frame depicting my face shrinking and fading into the background, and the coat closet that housed Isabella's $1,000 jackets. My hand grasped the doorknob, its solid and cold surface pressing against my palm. "Son," I said, not bothering to look back, "please convey my warm wishes to Isabella's parents. Feliz Navidad." The December air struck my face with a sharpness as I approached my truck. As I stood there, I heard Michael call my name softly, followed by the gentle click of the door shutting behind me. The ultimate conclusion. I lingered in the driver's seat, engine silent, as I observed the Christmas lights flickering in the windows of homes where I would never belong. My phone buzzed, likely a message from Michael trying to mend fences with hollow assurances and a touch of guilt. I chose not to respond. I turned the key and drove into the darkness, leaving behind the warm glow of the house I had purchased, yet would never truly call home. The heater buzzed softly, a comforting presence against the biting December chill, as I made my way through the well-known streets leading home. South Hill enveloped me, each neighborhood corner brimming with memories of the man I once was, the one who cherished family above all, willing to part with his last dollar just to see his son beam with joy. That individual was quite misguided. As I paused at the red light on 29th and Grand, I noticed a young father carefully loading Christmas presents into his SUV. With eager anticipation, his kids pressed their faces against the window, their breath creating a foggy canvas on the glass. There was a time when it was just Michael and me. Before Isabella, before I transformed into nothing but a walking ATM, burdened with inconvenient emotions. The numbers began to swirl in my mind like a malfunctioning slot machine. $2,800 each month for a duration of 5 years. Last spring, my calculator threw in the towel, unable to make sense of it all when I finally tallied the total, $140,000, a sum greater than what Maria and I had accumulated for our entire retirement. Vanished. Simply vanished. As the light shifted to green, I slammed the accelerator with more force than needed. The truck let out a growl that perfectly echoed my mood. 5th Street. That was the place where I refinanced my home. We will use our house, along with Maria's and mine, to cover their down payment. The loan officer regarded me with a sense of pity that I failed to recognize in that moment. "Mr. Flores, is this really what you want to do? You're jeopardizing a lot for the sake of another person's investment. An investment from another party? This isn't the future I envision for my son. My family's safety is not a concern. An investment made by another party. Lincoln Street. The financial institution where I secured a second mortgage after Michael's job loss 2 years back. It's only for a little while, Dad. Only until I regain my stability." Isabella lingered just behind him, her $700 purse casually draped over her shoulder, nodding with a sympathetic expression while she silently assessed the value of my desperation. It turned out to be nothing at all. My desperation held no value to them. I drove into my driveway, the one with the cracked concrete that I couldn't afford to repair, as every extra dollar vanished into their ideal suburban dream. The porch light flickered, yet another repair I had been procrastinating on. The house echoed with emptiness, devoid of Maria's laughter and the warmth of family gatherings that would remain a distant memory. As I fumbled with my keys, my phone rang, its shrill tone reverberating against the vacant walls. Isabella's name lit up the screen, likely to clarify why I fell short of her parents' refined expectations. Ideal moment. After 5 long years, the moment to have this conversation had finally arrived. I picked up on the 4th ring, allowing her just enough time to question whether I would answer at all. "Dennis." Isabella's voice oozed with insincere charm, the very same inflection she employed when requesting that I take care of their water bill or property taxes. I came across the minor mix-up involving Michael. Confusion. I rested against the kitchen counter, my coat still draped over my shoulders. I believe there's no room for misunderstanding, Isabella. Your stance is unmistakably defined. I understand this may come off as tough, but it's important to consider my parents' viewpoint. They embody a strong sense of tradition. A specific ambiance is anticipated during the holiday season. An unmistakable ambiance, I reiterated. What kind of atmosphere are we talking about? A moment of stillness. The sound of shopping bags rustling in the background hinted at a spending spree, likely diverting funds that ought to have been allocated to their mortgage payment. It seems that the financial obligations were mine to handle. They might not be familiar with your unique style of cooking. Experience the vibrant flavors of spicy Mexican cuisine, paired with the energetic beats of lively music. Honestly, Dennis, they are well-educated individuals. They anticipate engaging discussions on current events, literature, art, and more. The impact of the words resonates more deeply than any physical strike. For 8 long years, I held back my words, biting my tongue and swallowing insults, all for Michael's sake. I played the part, pretending not to see the way she regarded me, as if I were merely hired help. Cooking that resonates with me. I maintained a steady, composed tone. Are you referring to the meals you enjoyed every Sunday for 3 years during those financially challenging times? The tamales you mentioned, that brought back memories of your grandmother. That was unique. We were grateful back then, but now with my parents, with your parents around, there's no chance of the Mexican peasant causing any embarrassment at your elegant dinner table. The deceptive charm faded away. Let's keep it calm, Dennis. This is not a matter of race. It revolves around class. My father achieved summa cum laude honors from Washington State. My mother is fluent in 4 languages. They spend their summers in the Hamptons. What unique insights or stories would you bring to the dinner table? Have you heard the tales of tile installation? They're filled with creativity and craftsmanship. Warmth surged within me, yet I maintained a calm tone. After your husband's grandfather passed away, I created a business from the ground up. I have successfully hired more than 50 individuals. I've contributed more in taxes than what your father earned in his most successful year. Wealth isn't the sole measure of success, Dennis. Breeding is essential. Education is essential. Honestly, Maria had a clearer grasp of her role than you do of yours. Silence enveloped the line. She had made it across. The boundary I was completely unaware of until she confidently crossed it in her chic designer heels. What did you just say about my wife? She certainly had a knack for blending in more effectively. She kept a low profile. She realized that certain spaces were not intended for her presence. I gripped the phone so tightly that my knuckles turned pale. Maria exuded more elegance in her little finger than your entire lineage could ever hope to achieve. Oh, come on. She was a house cleaner who stumbled upon a stroke of luck. At least she wisely chose to remain silent about it. Isabella. My voice transformed into a sound I barely recognized. Please pay close attention. This discussion has come to a close. We're finished with the facade of being a family. It's not enough to simply... I said it again. We're done. And then I hung up the phone. I placed the phone gently on the counter, my hands surprisingly calm. The atmosphere in the kitchen had a unique vibe. More compact, yet undeniably fresher, as if a burden had been removed from the atmosphere. I made my way to the desk tucked away in the corner and finally retrieved the manila folder I had been putting off for months. financial statements from your bank, documents related to your mortgage. 5 years of automatic transfers that drained my resources while they indulged in a life of luxury. It's time to put an end to the losses. Section 4. The initial choice. Terminating the mortgage. The papers sprawled across my kitchen table, reminiscent of a crime scene's evidence layout. 5 years of bank statements, each reflecting the same automatic transfer. Every month, on the 15th, $2,800 disappears from my account and lands in theirs. A documented journey of my own folly. I grabbed my calculator and began to add up the numbers. In the initial year, $3,300. In the second year, an additional $3,600. By the third year, I had ceased purchasing new clothes for myself. In my fourth year, I began exploring discount grocery stores for my shopping needs. This year marks the 5th consecutive year I've been relying on peanut butter sandwiches for lunch to stretch my budget. $143,400. Excluding the down payment. Excluding the occasions when I had to take care of their utilities due to Isabella's shopping obsession spiraling out of control. Excluding the new roof, the landscaping, and the furniture that was crucial for their way of living. I leaned back in my chair, staring at the figures until they began to fade into a haze. The funds from Maria's life insurance policy, my nest egg for retirement. The college fund we initiated for grandchildren I would seemingly never have the chance to meet. Everything has vanished, arrived at a home where my presence was not desired for the Christmas dinner. I picked up my phone and navigated through my contacts until I located my bank's number. The automated system presented me with choices in both English and Spanish. What a considerate gesture, how welcoming to individuals like myself. Exceptional customer service. Meet Jennifer. What can I assist you with today? I need to cancel an automatic transfer, I stated, my voice more composed than it had been in years. Absolutely, sir. Please provide your account number along with the necessary verification details. I recited the figures while observing her type away in the background. Expert. Streamlined. There's no room for judgment regarding the decision of a 62-year-old man to halt payments on what likely was his son's mortgage. I acknowledge the transfer you mentioned, Mr. Flores. Monthly payment of $2,800 to Wells Fargo, account number ending in 74223. What's the duration of this transfer process for you? Half a decade. The words left a bitter aftertaste. Are you looking to cancel it right away? As I surveyed my kitchen, my gaze fell upon the aging appliances that were beyond my budget to upgrade, the walls yearning for a fresh coat of paint, and the drafty windows that let in the chill. Money that could have transformed my space had been invested in someone else's dream home. I have confirmed that this will take effect immediately. Completed. The transfer has been called off. How else may I assist you today? No, I said, unexpectedly pleased by how satisfying the word sounded. No, that's all there is. I ended the call and settled into the unexpected stillness of my home. As December darkness enveloped Spokane, Christmas lights sparkled in windows, illuminating homes where families came together freely, without conditions, without judgment, and without the need to conceal their true selves. Next month marks a significant milestone. For the first time in 5 years, the budget will finally balance. At last, after Maria's passing, I finally have the means to repair my porch light, stock up on quality groceries, and perhaps even treat myself to a vacation. I collected the bank statements, the mortgage documents, and every piece of proof showcasing my generosity. As I approached my fireplace, I struck a match and witnessed the culmination of 5 years of suffering dissolve into ash. The warmth of the fire kissed my face, a sensation more comforting than I had experienced in years. My phone buzzed with a text message, likely from Michael looking to apologize, or Isabella asking for cash for something crucial like new throw pillows. I haven't reviewed it yet. I decided to indulge in a glass of the finest whiskey, the one I had been reserving for that elusive special occasion that always seemed just out of reach. This evening had a unique charm to it. I lifted my glass to the vacant space, to Maria's picture on the mantel, to the person I once was, and the person I was evolving into. Merry Christmas to myself, I declared, and truly felt it. Section 5. Isabella's Challenge. The following morning greeted me with a refreshing clarity. December sunlight pouring through my kitchen windows while I savored my second cup of coffee. After years of constant calculations, I finally found myself free from the worry of how much money would vanish from my account in just 3 days. The taste of freedom surpassed even the rich flavor of the Colombian blend I had finally treated myself to. At precisely 10:47 a.m., my phone began to ring. Isabella's name illuminated the screen, serving as a stark warning. Dennis. Her voice held a familiar edge of impatience just beneath the surface. Please arrange to pick up my parents from Spokane Airport. Their flight from Portland is set to arrive at 2 o'clock. With a gentle touch, I placed my mug down, observing the steam dance gracefully upward toward the ceiling. Isabella, just checking in. Did you remember our chat from yesterday? Let's put that aside for a moment and concentrate on the practical issues at hand. I need your help with transportation for my parents, as you're the only one available during the day. The boldness was astonishing. Just a day after declaring I wasn't worthy of joining her family for Christmas dinner, she anticipated that I would act as their personal chauffeur. So you're inquiring because... That's the essence of family, Dennis. They support one another. Her voice cut through the air, laced with irritation. Let's get real for a moment. You don't stand as my competitor. Your strength simply doesn't measure up to mine. Simply hop in your truck and grab them. The ultimate affront, delivered with an air of authority. Which airline are you referring to? I inquired softly. Flight 447 with Alaska Air. Head over to Baggage Claim Carousel 3 to find them. And Dennis, they're looking for someone who can manage their luggage with care. Please, let's avoid any embarrassment. The sound of her nails clicking against a hard surface echoed in the air. Most likely, it's her granite countertop, the one I invested in when she deemed laminate unworthy for her dinner gatherings. Absolutely, I replied. Rest assured, I've got everything covered. Excellent. Please choose an appropriate outfit. How about that blue shirt you donned for Michael's graduation? They pay attention to details like that. The call abruptly ended. She didn't even bother to say thank you. I reclined in my chair, staring at the empty screen of my phone. At 2 o'clock, head to Baggage Claim Carousel 3 for Flight 447. I cast a quick look at the wall clock positioned above my sink. 10:52 a.m. There's an abundance of time. With a fresh cup of coffee in hand, sweetened just right with an extra spoonful of sugar, I turned to yesterday's newspaper, ready to tackle the crossword puzzle that remained incomplete. 7 across. Postponed rewards. 12 letters. Eventually, the answer would reveal itself to me. Section 6. The Airport Trap. At 2:15 p.m., I nestled into my favorite armchair, savoring a fresh cup of Earl Grey alongside the Sunday edition of the Spokane Review. The completed crossword from yesterday rested on my coffee table. Delayed gratification was simply a matter of postponement. The wooden surface vibrated as my phone buzzed against it. Once more, we hear the name Isabella. I allowed it to ring. The December sun streamed through my living room windows, casting a warm glow over the space where I had spent countless solitary evenings reflecting on the price of my kindness. Today, the silence carried a unique weight. Acquired, purposeful. 2:47 p.m. The phone vibrated once more. This time, I was able to catch a glimpse of her text preview. "Dad, where are you hiding?" "My parents are..." I flipped the phone over and dove back into the sports section. The Seahawks faced yet another defeat. Some things remain constant. At 3:30, my phone had vibrated 6 times. After wrapping up the newspaper, I brewed another pot of tea and began the task of tidying up the cluttered drawer in my kitchen table. It's incredible what can be achieved when you're not hurriedly catering to those who see you as their personal assistant. The 7th call arrived at 3:45. Rather than seeing Isabella's name, I noticed a familiar number, most likely her parents. I borrowed a phone from someone at the airport. I allowed that one to ring as well. In the crisp December air, a neighbor adorned his porch with twinkling Christmas lights, while his children darted around the yard, bursting with the joyful energy that only this festive season can inspire. Everyday families engaging in everyday activities. Everyone was exactly where they needed to be, free from the anticipation of a presence that would never arrive. 4:15 p.m. The incessant ringing of my phone filled the air. Isabella, followed by an unfamiliar number, and then Isabella once more. The incessant buzzing echoed, reminiscent of an irate wasp ensnared behind a pane of glass. I strolled into my kitchen and disconnected my landline from the wall. I powered down my cell phone entirely. Utter tranquility. I prepared a delicious grilled cheese sandwich and warmed up a can of savory tomato soup. Indulgent comfort food that I had denied myself for months, as every dollar spent on groceries was dedicated to making ends meet while supporting their lifestyle. The cheese melted to a perfect golden hue, while the soup steamed invitingly in my favorite mug. The winter sun hung low in the sky, beginning its descent and stretching long shadows across my backyard. In a distant corner of the city, 3 individuals likely found themselves in an airport parking garage, engaged in a heated debate over taxi fares, all while questioning the nerve of their personal assistant for leaving them in such a predicament. The idea elevated the flavor of my soup to new heights. By 5 p.m., dinner was enjoyed, the dishwasher was loaded, and I was pondering which movie to dive into next. It had been ages since I enjoyed a whole evening to myself, free from the stress of emergency calls for cash or unexpected requests for help. As I reached for the remote, a relentless pounding erupted at my front door. No gentle knocks here, just a furious barrage that shook the frame and screamed anger. I placed my tea down gently and made my way toward the sound, fully aware of who awaited me on the other side. The relentless pounding grew louder as I neared the door, each strike more ferocious than the one before. Peering through the peephole, I spotted 3 figures huddled on my modest porch, reminiscent of wolves encircling their prey. I swung the door open, and there was Cody Jenkins, his red face just inches away from mine. "What on earth is going on with you?" He burst in, shouting as he shoved past me into my living room, uninvited. We spent an excruciating 3 hours at that airport. Catherine trailed behind him, her typically flawless hair in disarray, her lips forming a tight line of unfiltered disdain. This behavior is simply not acceptable for someone your age, Dennis. Utterly inhumane. Isabella trailed behind, her chic coat creased and her makeup slightly askew. We felt deeply embarrassed by your actions. Are you aware of the impact of your actions? My parents ended up spending $40 on a taxi because of your decision to, please leave my home. My voice sliced through their cacophony of fury with the precision of a knife through fine fabric. They halted their tirade, taken aback by the firmness in my voice. "Excuse me." Cody's face shifted from a deep red to a striking purple. "You're not in a position to make demands here, my friend, not after what you did today." Catherine advanced, her voice laced with the condescension she had honed over years of gazing down on individuals like me. "Dennis, it seems you may not fully grasp the seriousness of your error. My husband possesses a network of connections across this city. Professional relationships. Building relationships. You can't treat individuals like us in this manner and anticipate. You have no clue who you're dealing with, old man. I've called this town home longer than you've been taking in its air. I'm well connected. Key individuals. Individuals who have the power to complicate your life significantly. Are you making a threat, Mr. Jenkins? It's a commitment." His voice sank to a chilling whisper. "Do you really believe that leaving elderly individuals at an airport is an action without repercussions? Get ready to discover just how mistaken you truly are." Catherine nodded, her smile as sharp as a blade. "Absolutely. Every action you take has repercussions, Dennis, and the outcomes of yours will be significant. Accessible." Isabella seized her father's arm. "Come on, Dad. Let's head out. This unfortunate elderly gentleman doesn't deserve our attention." They exited my house like a vanquished battalion, yet Cody paused at the doorway, glancing back. "You'll come to regret this," he warned. "I assure you of it." With a satisfying click, I secured the deadbolt after closing the door behind them. From my vantage point by the window, I observed them cram into their rental car, their voices raised in disagreement as they disappeared into the December night. The house seemed to breathe easier with them gone, as if their presence had cast a shadow that was finally fading, yet their parting words lingered in the newfound silence. Consequences for the public. Key individuals. Relationships. As I strolled back into my living room, I reached for my tea, still radiating warmth in its mug. Amidst the chaos, a flicker of concern emerged within me, yet it was swiftly eclipsed by a far more powerful emotion. Excitement builds. Just 3 days later, as I savored my morning coffee and flipped through the Spokane Review, I was taken aback to see my own face looking back at me from page 3. Spokane businessman leaves elderly couple stranded at airport amid holiday storm. My hands froze around the coffee mug. There I stood, captured in black and white, an outdated photo from my company's website, likely 5 years behind the times. Underneath lies a tale that sent chills down my spine and ignited my anger simultaneously. Cody and Catherine Jenkins found themselves stuck at Spokane International Airport for more than 4 hours on Sunday while waiting for their family member, Dennis Flores, who did not show up for the planned pickup during their Christmas visit to see their daughter. A couple in their late 50s braved the biting cold as a winter storm warning loomed over the region. Alert! A winter storm is on the horizon. The temperature reached a pleasant 52 degrees under a bright, sunny sky. "It was unimaginable that someone would leave us in such a way," remarked Cody Jenkins, a retired banking executive. Despite our numerous attempts to reach him, Mr. Flores did not respond to his phone. We had no choice but to take a costly taxi amidst perilous weather conditions. At our age, this type of treatment goes beyond being inconsiderate. It poses a real danger. The piece went on to include remarks regarding my unpredictable actions and worries surrounding my mental well-being. Cody portrayed himself and Catherine as innocent victims of a merciless old man who had inexplicably lost control. There's no reference to the Christmas dinner refusal, nor any details regarding Isabella's expectations or the prolonged financial strain they endured. Here I am, the villain who left helpless elderly tourists stranded in a blizzard that was nothing more than a figment of Cody's imagination. I placed my coffee down and revisited the article, taking my time with each word. Next, a third time. Patricia Morrison, the lifestyle editor, was the name behind the byline. The name may have been unfamiliar, but the strategy was unmistakable. Cody leveraged his connections and pulled strings to ensure this story landed precisely where it would inflict the most harm on my reputation. Intelligent, extremely intelligent. For the first time since this entire ordeal began, I found myself harboring a reluctant admiration for my adversaries. They were more than just privileged individuals having fits. They operated with precision and foresight. In a small city such as Spokane, they recognized that reputation held paramount importance. A single strategically published newspaper article has the potential to unravel years of dedicated effort. A declaration of total war was made. With precision, I folded the newspaper and placed it aside, my thoughts transitioning into the strategic planning mindset that transformed my business from the ground up. This had transcended the realm of airport pickups. This transcended the realm of Christmas dinner or mortgage payments. This was all about achieving victory. I opened my laptop and started entering names into search engines. Cody Jenkins, Catherine Jenkins, Isabella Flores, their social media profiles, connections, habits, weaknesses, and all the details they've carelessly shared over the years. If they were up for a game of chess, I'd demonstrate what true strategy looks like. I took a quick look at my wall calendar. December 18th, just 1 week left until Christmas. Just 7 days to orchestrate an unforgettable experience. For the next 3 days, I immersed myself in an entirely different realm. Not the reality where I was Dennis Flores, the weary old man who allowed his family to take advantage of him. In this realm, I was known as Dennis Flores, entrepreneur, a visionary strategist, a person who created something from the ground up, determined not to let a group of privileged individuals undermine 4 decades of hard work and dedication. My laptop transformed into the hub of all operations. Social media profiles cluttered my browser tabs, reminiscent of playing cards in a high-stakes game. Cody Jenkins, a retired First National Bank manager, is an esteemed member of the Spokane Country Club and serves as the treasurer for the Inland Northwest Business Leaders Association. A man who dedicated his career to roles of trust and influence. A man standing on the edge of everything he holds dear. Catherine's Instagram showcased an exquisite portrayal of sophisticated living. Enjoying charity luncheons, savoring wine tastings, and capturing vacation memories from Coeur d'Alene, all tagged with blessed life. Each post is meticulously crafted to embody success and elegance. Friends are showering her with compliments about her sophisticated style and motivating way of life. Constructed using the financial resources of others, myself included. Isabella's Facebook timeline revealed the true narrative. Share posts showcasing our stunning home, featuring photos of the kitchen I've invested in, dining at high-end restaurants while I took care of their utility expenses. Here's a recap of last week's developments. Thrilled for the upcoming Christmas dinner with family. Excited to showcase our exceptional hosting abilities. Experience our exceptional hosting expertise. Welcome to our sanctuary, our triumph. The level of narcissism was astonishing. Yet it was Michael's LinkedIn profile that provided the crucial insight I was searching for. A recent update revealed a fresh connection. Patricia Morrison serves as the lifestyle editor for the Spokane Review. The very Patricia Morrison who penned that scathing piece about me. I reclined in my desk chair, my gaze fixed on the evidence laid out before me on the screen. They committed 3 crucial errors. Initially, they completely misjudged my capabilities. Next, they had made their attack public, allowing me the opportunity to respond in kind. Third, they meticulously chronicled their lavish lifestyle online, crafting an impeccable showcase of contradiction. I navigated to Patricia Morrison's profile. Age, 43 years. Earned a journalism degree from WSU. 15 years of experience with community publications. Cody had no prior ties to banking or finance, indicating that he had made a cold outreach, likely leveraging a connection from his business network. A quick 5-minute dive into local business directories validated my hunch. There are 3 mutual connections linking Cody and Patricia's editor. The narrative didn't simply emerge, it was meticulously cultivated and intentionally sown. Beginner's Showcase. I launched a fresh document and started to type away. It's not just a reaction to their media assault, it's something far superior. A chronological sequence of events. 5 years of financial backing, substantiated by bank statements, receipts, and cancelled checks. The initial investment for their home, $47,000, secured through my home equity loan. Isabella's kitchen renovation took a turn when she determined that granite countertops were a must-have. $18,000 charged to my credit card. 60 monthly mortgage payments at $2,800 each. $168,000 and still growing. $250,000. Exceeding what I've invested in myself over the past 10 years. A text from an unfamiliar number made my phone buzz. It seems like Isabella is exploring a fresh perspective. I brushed it aside and continued my work. By evening, I had everything neatly arranged in a manila folder, robust enough to withstand any challenge. Financial statements from your bank. Proof of purchase. Images pulled from their social media, showcasing the items I had financed. A physical copy of the newspaper article adorned with my handwritten annotations in the margins, meticulously highlighting each falsehood and distortion. I glanced at my wall calendar. December 24th stood out boldly in red. It wasn't just Christmas. It was the ideal moment for justice to shine. Isabella's Facebook events reveal that she was set to host a delightful Christmas dinner for 12 guests. Close companions of the family, community members, individuals within their network, individuals who engage with the Spokane Review and shape their perspectives based on its content, individuals who are worthy of uncovering the truth. I shut my laptop and made my way to the kitchen, where my trusty camera awaited. The one I purchased years back to capture job sites for my business. It's time to get started, capturing something completely different. Tomorrow marks the arrival of Christmas Eve. Tomorrow, Cody Jenkins and his family were set to discover the consequences of declaring war on someone who truly knew how to battle. On Christmas Eve morning, the sky was a dull gray and the air was biting cold, typical of a Spokane winter day that fills you with appreciation for cozy homes and cherished family gatherings. It's unfortunate that I wouldn't find a warm welcome at either place. However, I had different intentions. I organized my evidence meticulously, akin to a lawyer gearing up for a courtroom showdown. Yearly organized bank statements. Every monthly payment is marked in yellow for easy visibility. Receipts organized in chronological order, illustrating the consistent pattern of my support for their lifestyle. Images printed directly from their social media accounts. Discover Isabella's exquisite new jewelry collection. Snapshots from their getaway. The lavish Christmas decorations now embellishing the home I assisted them in maintaining. Everything duplicated a dozen times, one for every dinner guest. The newspaper article was placed atop each stack, with my red pen notes prominently displayed in the margins. Falsehood penned alongside Cody's remarks on perilous weather conditions. That's not true, aside from the assertion regarding my unpredictable actions. Lacking context, emphasizing the omission of 5 years of financial support. I meticulously donned my finest suit, the navy blue one I had worn to Maria's funeral, perfectly pressed and prepared for yet another kind of goodbye. Today, I bid farewell to the man who had always been a pushover for his family. This evening, I will embody a figure of authority and admiration. At 6:30 p.m., I packed my briefcase with the evidence packets and headed to Kendall Yards. Their home radiated a cozy warmth, with cars parked in the driveway and lining the street. From the front windows, I caught glimpses of figures bustling about in the dining room. Isabella is graciously hosting in the home that my financial support helped them acquire. I pulled up across the street and glanced at my watch. 6:45, just right on cue, just the right time for everyone to be gathered around the dinner table, arriving in time to catch the main course. There's no straightforward way out for anyone. The front door stood ajar. Absolutely, it was. Isabella took pride in showcasing the safety of her neighborhood, highlighting how residents could live without the constant concern for security that those in tougher areas faced. As I slipped inside, the warm air enveloped me, accompanied by the cheerful sounds of laughter and lively conversation drifting from the dining room. Then Catherine remarked, "But darling, that's not how we do things in our family." A voice chimed in, sparking more laughter. Our loved ones, following all their efforts to keep me out of it. As I entered the dining room, briefcase in hand, a dozen faces pivoted in my direction, their expressions a mix of shock and dismay. Isabella paused, her wineglass suspended mid-air, just shy of her lips. Michael's complexion turned ashen. Cody and Catherine appeared as though they had encountered a specter. "Good evening, everyone," I said with a composed demeanor, placing my briefcase on the elegant marble sideboard. "I trust you won't mind if I join in on your Christmas celebration." Isabella was the first to discover her voice. "Dennis, this behavior is entirely unacceptable. It's time to go right now." As I spoke, I opened my briefcase and retrieved the first stack of papers. "Your guests deserve to be aware of who truly funded this dinner, this house, and the lifestyle you've been flaunting." A woman I didn't recognize, likely one of Catherine's charity acquaintances, leaned in with an inquisitive expression. "What is he saying, Isabella?" "He's experiencing some sort of episode," Isabella said hurriedly. "Michael, please make a call." As I gracefully navigated around the table, I positioned a packet of documents in front of each guest. "Here are the bank records I mentioned casually. Over the course of 5 years, we've invested significantly, $168,000 just in mortgage payments, not to mention the down payment, renovations, furniture, appliances, and all the details that make this space what it is today." As the rustling of papers filled the air, the room fell into a hushed silence, with 12 individuals intently scrutinizing the evidence before them. I observed the transformation in their expressions as they processed the figures, the timelines, the irrefutable evidence of my kindness and their dishonesty. A man began to speak, but paused, his gaze fixed on a bank statement. "Unbelievable," the woman across from him concluded. "Isabella, why didn't you share any of this with us?" Isabella's flawless demeanor was beginning to unravel. "It's not as simple as it appears." Dennis stepped up to lend us a hand. "We didn't inquire." I interjected, pulling out the newspaper article. "Let's discuss what you requested and what you communicated to the media regarding me." The room's temperature appeared to plummet by 10 degrees. I set the newspaper articles on the table, observing as my dinner guests noticed my photo from the less than flattering story that had been published just 3 days prior. "Now," I declared, my voice resonating through the unexpected hush, "let's delve into the true manipulators within this family." Cody's complexion shifted dramatically from a deep crimson to a pale, ghostly hue. Catherine remained tense in her chair, her wine glass neglected in her grasp. Mr. Jenkins leveraged his banking connections to orchestrate the planting of this story. I kept tapping the newspaper. "Observe how I am depicted as erratic and threatening, leaving vulnerable elderly individuals in frigid conditions." An elderly gentleman in a luxurious sweater glanced up from the article. "Cody, can you clarify what this is regarding?" "The temperature was a pleasant 52 degrees under a bright sun," I interjected before Cody had a chance to respond, "and they certainly weren't lost tourists." Isabella's parents arrived for the Christmas dinner, a gathering from which I had been excluded, deemed unworthy of their presence. Catherine has discovered her voice at last. "That isn't... We didn't claim..." "What did you mean, Catherine?" I took out my phone, revealing a collection of screenshots of Isabella's social media posts. "That I wasn't good enough for your parents. Are you really worried that my love for Mexican food and our down-to-earth chats might make you feel awkward around your well-educated friends?" The woman I recognized as one of Catherine's charity acquaintances shifted uneasily. "Catherine, you can't be serious," Cody blustered, claiming he's twisting everything, yet his voice betrayed a lack of conviction. "This individual is grappling with significant mental health challenges. The pressures of growing older, monetary challenges, facing financial challenges." I nearly burst out laughing. "Mr. Jenkins, for the past 5 years, I have been providing support to your daughter and son-in-law, amounting to nearly $3,000 each month. The only financial challenges you'll face are the ones on the horizon." I faced the whole table to speak. "These individuals have swindled $200,000 from me, all while disparaging me behind my back. They've turned my son against me, excluded me from family events, and when I finally asserted myself, they attempted to tarnish my reputation in the press." Michael finally found his voice, speaking softly, almost like a secret shared in the quietest of moments. "Dad, I wasn't aware of the newspaper." I spoke softly, revealing that your wife was aware, and her parents had a hand in it all. I became the villain in their story, simply for declining to be their personal ATM and chauffeur. The atmosphere in the room was changing dramatically, akin to the movement of tectonic plates beneath the surface. The expressions on the guests' faces were unmistakable, the slow dawning awareness that all the praise they had heard about tonight's gracious hosts was nothing but deception. "This is absolutely outrageous," declared an elderly woman adorned in pearls as she gazed at the bank statements. "Cody, how could you allow your daughter to exploit this man's kindness, only to publicly criticize him when he chose to stop supporting it?" Cody's meticulously crafted exterior was beginning to fall apart. "You may not grasp the complete picture." The woman interjected with clarity. "I understand perfectly. This individual has been the financial backbone of your family, yet you have treated him as if he were merely an employee. When he finally set a boundary, you attempted to tarnish his reputation." Catherine's voice emerged in a strained whisper. "He left us stranded at the airport when you informed me that my presence at Christmas dinner would be inappropriate for your parents." I responded with calmness. "After 5 years of settling their bills, while you judged me for my background and level of education, the stillness was overwhelming. 12 pairs of eyes fixated on Cody and Catherine, their faces a canvas of emotions from disgust to embarrassment, all stemming from their association with the duo. In a final, urgent bid to seize control of the story, Isabella took action. Attention, everyone. This situation has escalated beyond what we intended as a family issue. I firmly stated, no. This ceased to be a private family issue the moment you took it to the public arena, leveraging the newspaper to tarnish my character, prioritizing your pride over my reputation, as if it were mere collateral damage. I scanned the table, taking in unfamiliar faces that now held a clear understanding of my identity. I want to share the truth with you all before you come across Dennis Flores in the news again. When you do, it will be the real story this time. I snapped my briefcase shut and adjusted my tie with precision. Savor the remainder of your dinner. This will be the final payment I make. As I approached the door, the sound of an impending eruption echoed behind me. Accusations echo. Questions surge for clarity as the meticulously crafted social facade crumbles away. The Christmas music was the most beautiful I had ever experienced. On a Tuesday morning in March, the letter arrived, delivered by certified mail, each word carrying the weight of potential legal consequences. As I signed for it at my front door, I couldn't help but notice how the spring air was filled with the scent of new growth and endless possibilities, a stark contrast to the winter's desperation that had lingered during those dark December days. The envelope bore a stark message: final demand for payment, notice of default. Inside, 3 months of missed mortgage payments crashed down on Michael and Isabella, overwhelming them like a tidal wave of reality. $8,400 overdue, just 14 days to settle the account, or risk foreclosure on the home I assisted them in purchasing. I placed the letter down and turned back to my coffee, perusing it as one might scan a forecast for far-off storms. Intriguing, yet no longer your concern. For weeks, my phone had been buzzing with a series of increasingly urgent calls. Isabella's number was blocked following the initial frantic voicemail. Cody and Catherine, once prominent figures in Spokane, found their social status dissipating like the morning mist following the embarrassment of their Christmas dinner. Even Michael, whose calls I had been avoiding due to a blend of frustration and intrigue regarding how long it would take for him to set aside his pride. The solution, it seems, was 97 days. He knocked on my door that Thursday evening, transformed from the confident man who had once excluded me from Christmas dinner into someone who appeared to have aged a decade in just 3 months. With dark circles shadowing his eyes, his pricey suit bore the marks of neglect, and an air of desperation clung to him like an ill-chosen fragrance. "Dad," he said as I opened the door, "we need to talk." I moved aside to welcome him in, observing how he scanned my home as if it were a brand new experience for him. The new furniture I purchased with my first mortgage-free paycheck, the fresh paint on walls that had remained unchanged for 8 years, as every spare dollar had been devoted to his lifestyle. The repairs I could finally invest in, now that I was no longer supporting someone else's vision of success. "It's a lovely spot," he remarked softly. "It's the result of investing in yourself rather than in those who fail to value it," I said, sinking into my new recliner. "How about a cup of coffee?" He shook his head, sitting on the edge of my couch as if hesitant to settle in. "Dad, I want you to understand just how deeply I regret everything that has happened. The Christmas dinner, the newspaper article, and the way Isabella was treated by us." "Proceed." "I had no idea Cody was behind that story. I promise I didn't know." Upon discovering the news, he raked his fingers through his hair. "Dad, it's hard to believe the things they said about you when you weren't around. The way they spoke about our family and Mom's memory." At the mention of Maria, my jaw clenched yet I maintained a steady tone. What precisely did they mention regarding your mother? She was aware of her position more than you were of yours, that she comprehended. He couldn't meet my gaze, the boundaries between us palpable. I ought to have stood up for you. I should have confronted them long ago. Absolutely. I mentioned that you ought to have. We lingered in silence, the heaviness of 5 years of missteps hanging in the air around us. Outside, the familiar sound of my neighbor mowing his lawn filled the air. A typical Thursday evening in an ordinary neighborhood where sons welcomed their fathers to Christmas dinner without hesitation. Michael finally revealed that the house is in foreclosure. I'm aware. We are unable to proceed with the payments without... He paused, as if coming to terms with the implications of his words. I completed it on my own, without the financial support I provided each month, while you allowed your wife's family to mistreat me. I understand the way it appears, Michael. I leaned in closer, ensuring his gaze was fixed on me. Are you aware of the total amount I transferred to you over the past 5 years? He nodded with a heavy heart. After Christmas, Isabella made her calculations, the mortgage payments, the down payment, and all the other details. More than $200,000. I made a correction. $237,460. I have the precise figure now because I finally took action on something I should have tackled long ago. I calculated the total. His expression twisted in dismay. Dad, I truly apologize. I'm unsure about how to resolve this issue. It's beyond repair, my boy. The funds have vanished. However, what truly matters is that those years have passed. 5 years that could have been spent nurturing a connection with you, rather than supporting your wife's dream lifestyle. I'm aware. I understand that now. He gazed at me, his eyes reflecting a glimmer that could have been hope. Perhaps we could consider a fresh beginning. Perhaps there's a method to... Are you requesting that I restart the mortgage payments? The light of hope faded from his gaze. We're about to lose it all, Dad. The home, Isabella's admiration for me, her family's endorsement. I'm uncertain about my next steps. I observed him intently, this man I had nurtured, cherished, and devoted myself to, who allowed his wife's family to persuade him that his father fell short of their standards. Michael, I finally said, you didn't lose me. You let me go. There's a distinction. He brushed away his tears with the back of his hand. Could you possibly find it in your heart to forgive me? Months ago, I extended my forgiveness to you, and I truly meant it. Forgiveness is not about returning to the past. This isn't about ignoring what transpired or continuing to fund a lifestyle that demands my gratitude for mere fragments of your attention. So, what does that imply? I rose and made my way to the mantel, where Maria's photo rested alongside a fresh image. Sharing Easter dinner with Rosa and her family was a heartwarming experience, marking the first holiday where I truly felt welcomed and valued. If you're looking to have a relationship with me, you'll need to start from the ground up. It signifies offering me respect rather than insisting that I have to earn it. It signifies selecting options that align with integrity rather than simply opting for ease. I glanced back at him. So, the next time someone, be it your wife, her parents, or anyone else, attempts to leave me out of family gatherings, you'll recall who truly embodies the spirit of family. He nodded slowly, realizing, maybe for the first time, that respect was not something to be taken for granted. The house, he said softly, is no longer my concern. I settled back into my seat, feeling a sense of lightness I hadn't experienced in years. Michael, you're an adult now. Resolve it like mature individuals do. Secure a position that provides sufficient income to meet your financial obligations. List your home and invest in a property that fits your budget. It's time to take control of your finances and stop relying on others to cover the gaps in your lifestyle choices. He rose gradually, his shoulders finally squared for the first time since his arrival. Absolutely. You hit the nail on the head. I understand. He approached the door, then paused to glance back. Dad, I just wanted to say that seeing you stand up for yourself at Christmas dinner made me really proud of you. Feeling a mix of embarrassment and anger, yet there's a sense of pride as well. That sounds great, I replied. Perhaps there's still a glimmer of hope for you. Once he departed, I treated myself to a glass of fine whiskey and made my way to the back porch. Spring was on the horizon in Spokane. The trees are starting to bloom, and the air is filled with a sense of warmth and potential. In just 4 months, I will celebrate my 63rd birthday. It had been 8 long years since Maria had left. I spent 5 years being a doormat for those who failed to recognize true sacrifice. I had no intention of squandering any more time. I received a text from Rosa that made my phone buzz. How about dinner this Sunday? The children are eager to present their school projects to you. I grinned and replied with a message. I wouldn't dream of missing it. True family, it seems, is discovered among those who genuinely desire your presence. All the rest felt like overpriced performances, and I was finished purchasing tickets to events where I wasn't invited to take the spotlight. The whiskey embodied liberation, and the future shimmered with the brilliance I was ready to create. If you enjoyed this story, we'd love for you to give this video a thumbs up, subscribe to our channel, and share your thoughts about the story in the comments below. That's it for today's story. If you found it moving, don't forget to share the video with your friends and family. I'd love to hear your thoughts, so leave a comment below. Be sure to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss another story. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Have a great day.